I'm Michael Finnigan from I2I, and this is a brief introduction to the field of psychometrics and behavioural assessment. Now, I got a real privilege in 1991 when I was able to study this field extensively. I was actually deciding on what I was going to choose as an instrument for my clients, and so I did this extensive survey. I probably looked in detail at maybe as many as a dozen psychological profiles and got the opportunity then to study in depth what was going on in this field. The deep research that goes back a long way is actually quite interesting. The field of psychological profiling goes back maybe further than we think. I found in my research that there were references to early psychological type printing as far back as maybe the times of Aristotle, Hippocrates, where they would sit in a village square and realise that although they watched people walk through that square all day, only really 4 types of people walked through. And they came up with this description of earth, wind, fire and water, terms which you'll be familiar with in terms of being brought together. Around the same time, amazingly of course, Confucius was coming up with the same philosophy, and he was saying 5 types, not 4. He was adding to earth, wind, fire and water the behaviour of wood, which we'll maybe come on to later. So very, very ancient beginnings to what we now think is a modern field of behavioural assessment. If we fast forward a few years to 1884, Sir Francis Galton is credited with actually detailing this in a very specific document where he talks about what became known as the Big 5 personality traits and personality factors. Now, as I carried on my research, I found that this was then a recurring theme, despite the fact that I was studying lots of different psychological profiling instruments from all over the world. So if you have come across any of these systems before in terms of psychological profiling, what you will see is that constantly 4 dimensions of personality are discussed. These tend to typically be dominance, influence, steadiness, compliance. Sometimes it's expressed as colours, for instance, but it's always in this dimension of 4. So that little whistle-stop tour then of my year of research has brought us from Aristotle to Hippocrates to Confucius to Sir Francis Galton, and by now we're at the end of the 19th century and at the very, very early part of the 20th century and the emergence of the behaviourists. And for that element of our research, let's watch the next video.